Yes, indeed, folks. You're tuned into Blue Please here on WoW Radio with myself, Total Biscuits. Let's get on with it. I got nothing more to say. Aside from my topics, I've got a lot to cover today, and we're actually really getting on for time, so let's get right back into it. Here's a story that may be familiar to a lot of you, particularly if you've been raiding for as long as I have. So, I was raiding last Thursday. And we were just, kind of getting along with it. And I was just raiding along, doing my damage. And I came to the realization, I'm not having fun. I'm just doing this for the sake of doing it. Now, this is not the first time this has happened. Yeah, I've come back to raiding. And you wonder, well, Total Biscuit, if you're not finding it fun, why do you come back? Because it's a temporary thing. And it goes by the name of Burnout. And Burnout can apply to all manner of different things. If you spend a lot of time doing one particular activity, whether it be a hobby or a job, you can get burnt out on it. You can have sort of a minor breakdown because it becomes repetitive and you actually begin to resent it. And that sucks, especially when it comes to hobby. You do not want to resent it. There are times, due to burnout, that I have resented doing shows. And generally speaking, if that occurs, I stop. And you want to know why I stop? Because my quality noticeably decreases if I get burned out. I'm not the only one. Plenty of our hosts have had exactly the same reason. Athelas, for one, our very own founder, so many years ago. He suffered from major burnout at one point, and we had to just get him off the air because he was ruining his own legacy. And I've done the same thing. Indeed, I believe probably season 1 of, must have been season 1 of Blue Please. I had burnout in season 1 of Blue Please, and it was terrible. I remember there's a few shows in season 1 of Blue Please that I am embarrassed to have put out on air. They were just bad, and I should have gone off before, sort of cashed out when I was ahead, The same applies to raiding and indeed any other hobby. But the problem is this. Say, I'm spending, at least my guild requires me to be online 4 nights a week, which is a kind of part of the course for a relatively serious raiding guild. And they require me to raid at 19:30 through to, I think it's 10 past 11. No, quarter. Is it half past? Yeah. 23:30. So 19:30 to 23:30 is a 5-hour period? No, it isn't. That's terrible. It's a 4-hour period, I think. And that's basically my entire evening. Because I get home at... Let's see, I'm having to do server time conversion to my head here. I was never really good at this. I get home at 16:30. No, I don't. I get home at 18:30. See how bad I am at this? 18:30 server time, which is 17:30 my time. And I have to raid at... an hour after I get in. But it's not just that. I don't just turn up at half past because I've got to get online. I've got to make sure that I've got my consumables and everything ready, that I'm prepared up, get myself to the instance, be ready about 20 minutes beforehand so I can get an invite. Because, of course, particularly on the nights where a lot of loot's going to drop, there's like 35 people signed up. So getting in early is kind of important. So, in reality, once I've done with that, once I'm all done with the raid, it's 10:30 at night. I get up at just before 7 every morning, so I've got maybe an hour to myself, if I'm fortunate. Usually I'm just too tired and I go straight to bed. Now, you can probably see from that, and I imagine a lot of people have this similar raiding schedule, that it's very easy to resent a schedule like that. Because what ends up happening is you're like, this is monopolizing my time. And the problem is, I'm not having tons of fun with it. Don't get me wrong, I'm enjoying it a bit. There's certainly some fulfillment to be had there. There's some enjoyment, and I like raiding, but I'm not feeling like I'm getting my value for money. Not when it comes to the game, but when it comes to my time spent. I'm not feeling like I'm spending quality time, because I don't have a lot of quality time these days. And the time that I do spend has got to be top-notch quality time. I've got to have got something done or done something fun and all that kind of stuff. It's a Tuesday right now, and I'm sitting here doing Blue Please. I'll be done at 9 o'clock my time. And then I'll eat, and then I'll probably have a couple of hours to myself before I go to bed. And I'll feel like I've done something, I've done something good. I've put a show out, people have hopefully enjoyed it, and it's been quality time. But when it comes to some of the raiding, some of it seems like it's not. And don't get me wrong, progress is great, and doing progress is awesome, and it's fun, and I'm okay with it. The problem is there's some nights where I feel like I really shouldn't have been there. And it's not because I've been personally failing or whatever, it's maybe because we've just been wiping on a boss all night for no good reason. And it's just got worse and worse and worse because we've basically been demoralized as a raiding corps. People start making stupid mistakes after they've been there for like 3 hours, and they start to get tired, and they start to lose focus, and it just gets worse. The problem is, of course, when you're part of a raiding guild like that, you are expected to be there, you're expected to pull your weight. And I've pulled my fair share of the weight. There's not a question about that. You know, I will sit out on the farming, and I do mean like the farming days, like Wednesdays and Thursdays. I'll sit out and happily let somebody else go in and get some gear. I'm in no hurry. I'm fine with that. I don't just turn up on Wednesdays like some other people do. And I imagine your guild probably has the same issue. People turning up on Wednesdays because they know, hey, Wednesdays is farming day. That means we're going to get DKP and we're going to get a ton of loot. And it's not going to be very expensive because we've already killed those bosses. It'll maybe take us 4 hours to clear to where we were doing progress. And that'll be that. It's 4 hours well spent time where I get loads of rewards. And then the day after that or whatever is going to be, yeah, it's bang our heads against a brick wall night. Bring your consumables. You've just sunk 4 flasks. You've just sunk maybe an entire stack of food, possibly more, or a bunch of fish feasts, and you've just maybe racked up between 150 and 250 gold's worth of repair bills. It depends on how hard you're going, of course. And it's sometimes hard to stomach that. Now, as a raider, I understand I have a responsibility to the guild. If everybody quit out, then you're going to end up with some serious problems. Of course, you stop being able to raid. But there is also a responsibility that you have to yourself, as opposed to the group of people on the internet playing video games and slaying fantasy elves and all that kind of stuff. And your responsibility is to have fun with your time. And if you're not, you should take a step back. The problem is, it can be difficult to do that, again, because of the responsibility to the guild. You feel like you're letting them down. And in some ways, I suppose you are. And I must admit, I sent a mail to my guildmaster saying, I'm taking a hiatus for a couple of weeks. I knew I wasn't going to be able to attend a lot of the raids anyway, because I had a bunch of stuff on. You know, I couldn't have attended Monday's raid or Sunday's raid because I was having Game Fest and stuff like that. So I thought, I'm going to take a few weeks off. Because, to be honest, I am so burned out that I don't want to be here. It's not that Ulduar's a bad instance. It's just that we've been raiding so solidly for now almost a month. And I'm just finding myself resenting it because it's taking up so much of my time. I suppose with a schedule like mine, I should probably join a more casual quote-unquote guild, or just a guild that raids less. But therein, I suppose, lies the problem, because I'm looking for progress, and a lot of guilds that raid less don't progress as fast. It's a delicate balance to be had. So yeah, I would like you to email in if you have any stories whatsoever about your raid burnout. I'm sorry that I'm kind of stuttering here, because something crazy has just happened. Oh yes. So I've got some hot off the press news for you right here. Hot off the press. Nobody else knows about this yet. Our friend, the Emperor, Emperor who does the Saturday night main event, has apparently won the US shoutcasting contest. Unfortunately, the name listed next to his video, which is quite clearly him, is not him. So either there's been a mistake, or someone has actually run off with his video and has won the shoutcast contest with it. I mean, this has only just happened, so this is literally fresh off the press that there's something horribly wrong with the shoutcasting contest in the US. This could have actually happened. Now, if you go to the page, and I can give you the link to this right now, it's worldofwarcraft.com/contests/arena-shoutcasting/winners.html. Now, I'm going to have this posted by our IRC rep so that you can have a look at it. And what you can do is, you can listen to just the first few seconds of the winner. It is obviously Emperor. He even says, this is the Emperor. And his voice, it's Emp. It's Emp Shoutcast. And yet, for some reason, it's not Emperor's name listed. I know Emperor's real name. I know his account name. I know all the pseudonyms he goes by. And I can tell you for a fact that Jody Johansson is not one of them. So what the hell's happened? Blizzard, if you're listening to this, you just screwed up horribly. Get it sorted out! That's a $2,500 monitor that's apparently going to someone who probably didn't even enter. I don't know. But whatever the case is, something has gone wrong. Very, very wrong. So go get it sorted. Naturally, we'll be contacting our PR guys and getting David, who is of course Emperor, involved in this, because I've just got an email back from him saying, he had no idea. He had no idea that this had actually happened. Because in the Shoutcast contest rules, yeah, you're supposed to be contacted within 10 days of the contest ending. Now, I don't know if that means after the winners have been announced or after the actual closing date. Because this is how I'm pretty much certain that I haven't won, right? Because I entered the EU one, and indeed, we did the broadcast live on the show. And I hadn't had an email, so I assumed, alright, well, I mustn't have won, whatever. But Emperor didn't get an email either, and now it's gone up with this. Now, the EU results haven't been announced yet. But it seems to me that there has been a serious screw-up here. Something that needs sorting out. I do hope that the other contests haven't had similar issues. Because it could be pretty difficult to get in touch with these people. Wow, that's crazy. That is absolutely nuts. It's all going down. What can I say? Right, now that I've interviewed that, I've actually done something which I never ever do, which is break up the flow and go off on a tangent. But I felt that had to be said right now, because I've just had that information in. So yes, a WoW Radio host won the shoutcasting contest on the US side, and then didn't. We'll be bringing you more on the story as it develops. Insane. Totally crazy. So anyway, let's come to the conclusion on this whole Burnout thing. I am not really anyone to say as to where you should let your responsibilities lie. When you join a guild like that, you do take on and agree to do certain things. And in the current raiding environment, which is quite competitive, because there's a new instance out, it can be difficult to get people to replace people who go out on hiatus. And I feel guilty. Don't get me wrong, I feel bad that I'm not there, but how can I be expected to play something that I'm not enjoying anymore? And it makes me wonder how many others, perhaps in our guild, are already suffering burnout, and it's affecting their performance. I mean, I remember when I first used to raid, indeed all the way through, and mostly through TBC as well, that I'd have my screen on, and I would never alt-tab or anything. Yeah? I never ran in window mode, I'd never have anything that I was mucking about with, and I'd be 100% focused 100% of the time. But now, I'm finding myself alt-tabbing, going AFK, stuff like that I should have never, ever done. Alt-tabbing, reading stuff, while tactics are being explained because I already know them, or between wipes or whatever. I never used to do that, but it's mainly to try and take my mind off the fact that raiding has become somewhat monotonous to me. And I don't think there's anything wrong with the content. I think Old War's a great instance. They could stop bloody nerfing it, that would be nice. But it's a good instance, it's very well designed, the stuff's very enjoyable. So, you can't blame Blizzard for that. And you can't, I suppose, blame the guild for that either. You can't expect the guild to say, oh, let's take a week off when they're trying to progress. But perhaps, maybe that might be something that some guilds consider. Right, consider this. Competitive-wise, the competition is pretty much done. Yep, there's a couple of hard modes, I think, and Algon on 25-man now to kill. The competition is pretty much over. Even on your realms, the chances are multiple guilds have killed Yogg-Saron and will kill Algon before you do. So maybe it is time to chill out, because burning through this content at this speed ain't going to be so good. If we have to wait as long as we had for Sunwell, I certainly hope not, but if we do, then you're going to be very, very sorry when you burn through this content and you don't get anything more for 9 months. Now, if Ulduar's anything to look by, and it took how long for Ulduar? 6 months? Then we're not going to get anything for a bare minimum of 6 months, probably longer. We don't want that to happen, so I'm just saying to guild leaders and raid leaders, and indeed concerned raiders that are perhaps getting a bit burned out, just talk to your guild to maybe just take a break for a week. And you'll come back fresher. You'll come back more willing to do your job, and you'll have more fun in there. Because at the end of the day, is that not what it's all about? If we're not having fun, then why do it? It's okay, guys, you can stop playing WoW for a week. Try some single-player games. There's plenty good ones around. My name is Total Biscuit, and you're listening to Blue Please, here on WoW Radio. I'll be right back after this. It's yet another track from my friend's band Internal Conflict. go check him out, myspace.com/internalconflictband. It's a bit of a longer one, and it goes by the name of Without Face. Enjoy.
Shall be full.